welcome to Part 5 in Parts. That's what we're calling it.
I like it.
This is we're going to be doing a little bit of a Part 5 review podcast for the new anime that's out.
And by our, we Jim and Sam.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to say, normally the show we do is JoKAKAKA. If you have been following our channel, you know that we love Part 8. And by that I mean we hate Part 8. And by that I mean we read it monthly and we do a podcast on it.
And we still don't know what to feel about it.
Yeah.
But we also did a Part 5 spoiler cast if you want to go back and listen to that and full spoilers.
Yeah, I'll put that in the description. So
yeah, we talk over an hour about Part 5.
Yes. Ideally with this podcast, we're going to be waiting until every arc is completed, so we're not going to be doing an episode for each episode because I think that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, basically, you know how they had it's just the stand fights, basically the stand fights, and if like they have like the middle like filler stuff, like not like I guess it wouldn't be like Killer Queen Part 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
and like they had like Kira's going away, or like the next episode we probably would attach it to it since it's just like the in between fluff.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some times where we have to make an executive decision. Like, it's possible that next episode might just be... I don't want to talk about... Don't like go too deep into it, but it's possible next episode might just be an entire arc within itself.
Yeah, but if it is, I will deal with that when it comes. But we're going to try not to spoil, like, the super spoiler stuff coming to head, like, until, like, probably towards the end where we'll have a warning that we're...
Yeah, near the end of the podcast, we'll maybe have, like, okay, and what's happening next, and are you excited?
Or timestamp.
Yeah, if there is any major spoilers, I will timestamp it. I do want to kind of make this accessible, I guess. Yeah. Alright, so please, audience, I'm putting this in the beginning so that you listen and will respond. In the comments, tell me, do you want this to remain a spoiler-free podcast? Or can we talk about spoilers freely? Because I think the discussion would go a lot smoother if we could talk about spoilers.
I don't know how much Part 3 and Part 4 I can reference.
Yeah, there's a lot of like relevant things to talk about with JoJo that aren't just Part 5 related specifically.
Or do you want to try to keep all spoilers to the end?
Yeah.
But...
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, please comment. I'm looking forward to reading the comments.
Yes.
So, yeah, mostly, we've both read Part 5, of course, and we're talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yes.
Gold Experience.
From the spoiler cast, you know what we
Golden
think
Wind.
In detail, so...
Yeah, basically, I would just... Since it's the first episode of Part 5 in Parts, I want to just briefly go over it. I think Part 5 is definitely one of my favorite parts of JoJo.
I like it a lot.
It's a very underrated part. I think a lot of the discourse around it was really that the translations were really terrible for a while.
Yeah, the early translations were very rough. I remember reading them before.
Literally could not understand certain stand abilities.
Yeah, it's like
which does harm your enjoyment of the part.
Yeah, which is why one stand in particular in this part is very meme. And if you probably haven't know anything about it, you probably heard anything about JoJo. It's manga. It's always about this stand.
So, yeah, basically, I really like Part 5. I think Giorno's a very underappreciated protagonist.
I'm pretty sure Part 5 is Japan's favorite part.
I've heard that before. I know you've said it before.
Yeah, I believe this was Part 5 is Japan's favorite. You ever see the PS2 Part 5 game?
Oh, yeah.
It's very rough looking.
I think it looks great.
It's so weird.
I think... Okay, so... It
doesn't look like it plays very well.
Oh, it doesn't look like it plays well, but I've seen a lot of the cinematics for it.
Yeah, the cutscenes I think look great.
Oh, it looks gorgeous. It's got like Giorno's hair donuts are like angular, and I love it.
I remember the voice acting.
They look great.
Even in the voice acting, Japan voices are so weird because I guess I'm more used to hearing the Eyes of Heaven and the All-Star Battle voices, and now it's the anime. But there are some odd voices that are completely kind of different what they went to in the other fighting games.
I have to say, though, I do love that game exists, and I kind of wish that they would make more games like... I love... Because ever since I was a little baby boy, and I love Dragon Ball Z, I always loved playing through the story modes of the games, because I guess I was just, I don't know, you're a little child, and you just love to go through things
that's
like
I told
me.
You about Eyes of Heaven, and the unique story, that you go an original story, and I told you how that game ends, and the interesting, unique things that does, and it's actually pretty cool how they did their own thing to it.
So yeah, I think you definitely there's a lot of fun of recapping a story, especially like playing the Part 5 game is probably not the best way to experience it initially.
Not at all.
But after you've already read it and you have a connection with the stands and characters, it's a fun way to do it.
That thing you can literally do like every major fight in that game add the characters, no matter how like weird they are. Like you will.
That's admirable.
Yeah, no matter how good or bad their stands are, or if they're designed to, or the character's designed to be a fighting character, they do it. It's questionable.
Yeah, this has been a bit of a weird tangent.
I know, there's one I wanted to say, but it's so spoiler I can't. But I watched gameplay of it. It's just the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know. I've looked into it too.
Like the strangest idea for a fight.
Yeah.
But definitely Part 5. I know you really love Part 5. I think I told you because I read JoJo before him, and I told you Part 5 probably has the best fights that you will read in JoJo.
For sure. Some of the coolest stands. And we can talk about Bruno because he's in this two-parters. So yeah, we're doing the first 2 episodes because I'm considering that to be like the whole kind of intro, and then the Bruno Bucciarati versus Giorno is like the first kind of big arc.
The only idea people really have is the OP, and all you gotta know is best girl is in this part.
That's what you say.
That's what I say. I do.
The problem with JoJo is there aren't many girls, so best girl is it's kind of like winning like.
There's one in every.
It's like winning like a swimming contest in the shallow end.
There was always one in like each part until like part 6, where they had 2.5, and they did 3.5, 3.5 major ones.
Whatever. I'm not even gonna devote brain power to that right now.
One in part 7, the main one party, but yeah. But
hey, there's the first lady.
Yeah, but,
okay, this is getting too random, but not about Part 5.
But yeah, so yeah.
But like, I don't know. I think Lisa's pretty underappreciated.
Oh yeah, for sure she got underappreciated by the editors as well. So,
okay, basically the first 2 episodes add a lot more original content than I was expecting.
Yeah,
and I think they're better for it, honestly.
Because they looked at it as the first 9 chapters, I believe, and a little bit of like a later on chapter because of just like the Giorno origins.
Yeah, so that's the major thing that really I think endeared Giorno more to me in this version is there's a good portion in the 2nd episode just devoted to his backstory, and that's like really, I don't know. I felt when I was reading Part 5. Giorno felt so mysterious.
Yeah.
And it felt like so little was known about his past. Having these like episodes and him having a connection with the mafia from a young age, I feel like it really makes his character feel so much more believable and like part of the world.
Yeah. So right around the time when like the manga was like was more the bigger thing than people watching the anime, people would rank their JoJos, and Giorno would be ranked towards the bottom more so than like anyone else. Like probably there, Jonathan, Jolene, and Giorno would probably be around the bottom 3, like people's lists usually.
I would agree. I would definitely say that is what would happen.
And this one definitely gave you like a better origin, I guess, for like a character. Where like Jotaro's origin was just like him being an asshole and like.
Well, I would rank Jotaro as like one of the worst JoJos, which I know is a very...
In his part, yes. Out of his part, he's way better.
That's actually something I did want to mention. We were talking about Jotaro before. Jotaro gets a little cameo in this, which it's more... I remember in the original, I'm pretty sure he's just a face. Like, I think Koichi literally says like, hey... I was sent here by Jotaro.
In the manga, no, he does call him to update him. He is there, and he looks at his picture. He actually does look at the picture from part 3.
And I really do love seeing Jotaro because this felt like the one part that he wasn't in. Like, because he's in obviously 3, 4, and then, well, maybe he's in another one later. But in this one, I really like that he's in it. It feels like that. I love the tradition of having old JoJos in the new.
Seeing Koichi is really cool.
Yeah, and also like the little bits of like character development where it's like they make references to him being like a marine biologist in the last one, but seeing him like in his element in like his weird like marine room.
I think it was in part 3. There's like during the Anubis thing, they're like I think Polnareff goes in there to get a haircut. And Jotaro's like in the waiting room, and he's reading like a marine life magazine or something. It's really funny.
So I initially didn't really like Jotaro because I felt like he's very one-dimensional. He's very much like that, just kind of like delinquent student that's a badass. But there's a very like nuanced character within him. And if you think about how he behaves, like I actually kind of totally reinvented the way he like I approach his character differently now, where he's like very much like socially inept. He doesn't really do well with people. That's why he's always very aggressive and like is always insulting people, because that's how he does things. Yeah. But there is like a person under there. He's not just like a character type. He has like interests and stuff. He just doesn't know how to like communicate with humans. He kind of is autistic in a way, and not in an insulting way. Like I feel like Jotaro is on the spectrum. Like he just doesn't know how to communicate.
I feel like especially with part 3, but part 4, he like he's like he gets to know like Josuke. He gets to know like Koichi, especially he comes like he's more trusted to him than he is Josuke.
Yeah.
Like, there are only really 2 people they talk to in that part, really, if you think about it, in part 4.
And also, you were saying how Giorno would always be, like, the bottom of the list. I honestly think, like, this is going to sound like blasphemy. Josuke isn't really that interesting of a character to me.
I think Josuke, because, like, I think I talked about this before we recorded, but, like, we were talking about, like, the Josuke, but, like, he goes from, like, this goofball, like, doesn't want to hurt anyone, to, like, a straight-up, like, greedy delinquent. Yeah. Like, he kind of changes his character.
He does, definitely.
I think it is more so just because of Okuyatsu being a bad influence to him, but that was, like, my only thing I could think of. But, like, yeah, he was just a goofball, like, you know, people think he's a delinquent, but he's really, like, a heart of gold kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
which, at least with like Jotaro, he definitely isn't a heart of gold kind of person. Which I do appreciate that he's not a heart of gold.
I love that picture. I told you that picture with like the evolution of Joestars and women, but you get the gentleman for Jonathan, the get out of the way or I'll kiss you, Joseph, and then you get the move bitch get out of the way with Jotaro.
Yeah. All right, sorry, I don't want to kind of try and focus back onto the plot of the episode.
Yeah, hopefully I want to see if Juno still gets that good character out of him, because that's what I'm worried about, because as it goes on, yeah. Like, as all the other parts, all the other parts do that, where they flesh out the other characters a lot compared to just the main character.
Part 5 in particular, I think, does a really good job at like taking the time and giving every main character a very like grounded backstory.
Yeah. Where part
some are better than others, of course.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, even like part 4 wasn't nearly as much. Part 3 had a little bit with like Polnarf's major backstory, like, and that's basically because Abdul had a little bit and Cat Queen barely had it. His motivation was just bang Jotaro's mom.
Yeah, that's kind
of funny. Joseph, if you knew Joseph's backstory, you didn't really need his, but like yeah, only Polnarf really had that huge character development, which every part ends
very short, like. I don't know. I wish I knew how many episodes it was or how many chapters, because like he's like, I need to kill this man, and then he has a definitive ending, but then he just is still like, hey guys, let's get to you.
One of the first people they beat is Polhorse and the Hangman, and that's literally his whole person he's trying to fight, and then like that's it. And he's done, but he's still gonna travel with him, but he's still the main character of this part. Polnarf is the main character, where Koichi is like the main character, gets like the development, the growing character.
I think he's the narrator in the manga.
Who?
Koichi.
Part 4? Yeah, because
I haven't ever read part 4.
I always remember the Duang like reenactments where people were just like, I'm Koichi Horsei.
Hirose. Oh, okay, because it's bad.
Yeah, the dub. Or like the people reading the dub will just butcher it as much as like they can.
Okay, so we're really getting off topic. We need to talk about the fucking episodes.
Hey, I was just talking about like how Giorno being introduced as...
I mean, I'm loving the conversation. It's very formless, but you've got your best boy, Bruno. I love Bruno's introduction. It is so good. His whole, like, the voice acting, the voice actor choice is really good for everyone. I like how like soft-spoken Giorno is, and Bruno's kind of got this like brashness in it, like immediately.
If you don't know, one of Jim's favorite characters is Bruno. Like
yes, Bruno.
Probably one of his
Bruno
top
and
3.
his stand.
His top 3 characters for you in JoJo?
Probably. Yeah, I haven't looked at my list in a while. I used to keep a list of things, and I guess I need to revise it now because of new OP.
We did do an episode of our favorite stands, and I'm not sure we did we didn't do favorite characters.
No, but that'll be next time there's a hiatus, we'll do it.
Yeah, but continue.
Yeah, so I absolutely adore Bruno. His design is incredible. He's one of the greatest designs ever. Everything about it is perfect.
Yeah, and they went with the white color scheme with him, which I'm more used to.
Happy.
I'm more used to the blue one. Like Giorno's color scheme is also like blue and not the pink one, which I always was more familiar, and I like the blue one more. But that's just me.
I really like the pink one. I think it looks really ostentatious.
I was never a fan of the pink. I think the pink would never look right to me. I thought the purple one was always the go-to. But I guess I looked too much like a school uniform or too much like Josuke's. So they probably wanted to differentiate from that.
Yeah, it definitely makes Giorno stand out.
But But yeah, the Bruno white one, I'm glad the stand color stayed the same, which I liked.
Yes. Yeah. Zipperman.
Zipperman.
Sticky Fingers is also one of my favorite stand designs. I love the blue and the white theme. It's really good. But yeah, white and black Bruno is just...
It's good.
Italian kissing noses.
I thought both... I'm sorry, the white Bruno and the blue Bruno are both good. I didn't really care
which
one they went
to. What is the secondary color?
It's the blue one.
Blue, I mean...
You think...
It's blue, and what are the dots?
I believe it's just blue. I think it's invert, like blue and white, but...
okay.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But I just remember him mainly being a blue.
But yeah, Bruno, I love him. Stands awesome. The effects of, like... Seeing sticky fingers looked really cool. That's one thing I was wondering what they were going to do, because in a manga, like, the black and white contrast is such a strong thing. Mm-hmm. And, like, it always looks like a void whenever he opens it. I kind of like that they gave it some definition.
Did you read it colored when you read through part 5 or not? Or only
I only read half of part 5. When I started reading part 5, wasn't finished colored. And I also was just reading the wrong one.
Oh yeah, and I want to know they had like the coloring to the cup to the.
Yeah, I didn't read that part, so I don't recall.
But yeah, another thing I noticed about this part, they use like CG, like a lot more noticeable in this one. I feel.
There's certain character stands who we haven't been introduced yet who's CG, and it honestly doesn't look bad. One thing that I was kind of impressed with visually, the animation's really good in these first 2 episodes.
It usually is.
Yeah, it's true. The first few episodes, and also, so think about it. These 2 episodes were premiered months ago. Like,
yeah, in France.
The first one was premiered in July, and then the second one was premiered, I think, last month. But we're recording in October, so it was in September. So these episodes have been sitting around for a while, at least.
I remember it, like, certain websites had it leaked out or whatever, and like...
I was not going to watch that.
It's like theater quality, not like centered. It was like, it was like shot on the bottom looking upward. It was like, I'm not going to watch that.
So I wonder if it'll stay consistent. The one thing that I was really impressed with was when Gold Experience punches Bruno and he does the whole thing where his like the time is like slowed down. That whole punch was like really intimately animated because I guess it was supposed to be showing time slowing down.
There was always the slow motion. Even the games had one of your moves was the slow mo punch, and every character would would have slow down, like get hit, like.
But it looked like they did an interesting mix of CG and 2D, and it worked really well.
Even the trolley that was they fought on, like the CG didn't seem like the typical like. The frame rate hurts your brain kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that because I didn't like the way it looked because it looked like CG. But you're right, the frame rate was good.
It's like when you look at Berserk and you see like that CG and it hurts your brain to look at it. And there's another anime that it was a scene from someone put a clip from Overlord and it was like stuff running down the hill and the CG was so bad it like kind of made you puke in the mouth a little bit.
Basically, here's the issue that happens. Animation runs at 12 frames per second generally. Like 2D animation, and you're so accustomed to looking at that 12 frame per second animation that your brain doesn't see it as weird. But 3-dimensional objects look differently to us, so when they run at the lower frame rates, they look fake. So that's why when you're watching Berserk 2016 and you see Guts is like floating off screen and choppy, and that's also just poorly done.
The goblin head exploding in like the hand
because it needs to run at a certain frame rate, otherwise it's not going to, like, your brain won't process it. It's really a problem with your brain not processing it right.
Oh no,
and they nailed it. You're right. I totally give them credit where credit's due.
Maybe one of the few instances where they use CG sparingly and it works.
Yeah, I really hope that... Well, I mean, of course, all the cars are CG because it's anime, and every car needs to be CG now.
Yeah, except on the inside of the car.
Yeah.
But, yeah, hopefully, because there's some stand fights where we're not sure how they're going to look. There's one in particular for me that I'm thinking of, like, how they're going to animate that without CG.
I'm a little worried about certain things.
You probably know what I'm thinking about.
I know exactly what you're saying.
So...
I do... Okay, I'm going to say... Little minor spoiler warning here for literally the next 10 seconds. The train fight... I'm worried that the train is going to be CG 99% of the time.
Yeah, I'm worried about the whole plane one.
We'll see. The plane is going to be CG for most of it.
That stand alone in that one is going to be...
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to hand animate that unless they're just copy and paste Akira.
Yeah. All right, spoilers have been ended.
You can censor that one out. You can bleep it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the fight was like really cool. Like, see that one animated, just like... I don't know. It just seemed like the brutality. Like, you still got the part 5 is probably the most brutal parts in JoJo,
which makes me so like unhappy that JoJo is so heavily censored.
Yeah, because you spotted the fingers, like you saw the blood, but they just censor out like with the bottom of the fingers.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be some fights where you're gonna be like, 90% of the screen is black right now, and I want to see
and we know exactly which one they're gonna do that on.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm worried about, like, when they have like one of the other characters who's like, what do the characters shoot people? But like, you know, this how they're gonna like, censor like just holes in them that are bleeding.
Yeah, I don't know. It's we've like we haven't talked about it before, but in person we have, not recording. How inconsistent the censorship can be in JoJo, because like certain times, like look at near the end of the episode 2 where Bruno or Giorno's ripping his arm out of the socket, and there's like, it's not like gory, but it's really violent and looking, and the way that they sell it looks really painful.
Because it's like on the zipper, and
like technically there isn't any gore
because the void's still there. And I guess that's probably why they did that. Where like
it was a smart way to get like avoid having to censor something, but just
like remembering like the whole like last part of part 4 was like, you know, with Killer Queen like blowing everybody up, and like they kind of like, and they couldn't really, they try to censor it as best as they could, but like you still like
especially
blood shooting out,
especially because like when Killer Queen kills someone, they explode, like their body
blood,
like
there's blood shooting out of their chest, like their mouth, like everywhere.
Their body like ruptures. Even like, it's more accurate to say ruptures.
And even in part 3 when they had like just Dio having the, you know, killing everybody, having like guy Senator Phillips running everyone over on the car, and just like they couldn't show that.
That's upsetting.
Just so much gore that they just can't show. Like even like when like the body horror in like the part 2 with like what's his name, Santana. Yeah, him just going inside people and like blowing up on the inside and everything. Just like, I don't know. I feel like they should have released like an uncensored version of this stuff.
Well, they do. It's called the Blu-ray. You have to pay $10,000 for each disc.
I don't know.
Also, they reanimate. This is like one of the things that's crazy to me is how the Japanese anime industry is literally like, we need people to buy Blu-rays. It is the only way we can survive. But, so they make like the uncensored Blu-rays, and then you look at the numbers and like literally like 1,000 people will buy them.
This is the same country as the airing Goblin Slayer, and that's just like rape the anime.
Well,
or rape the manga too.
The real issue is like, you have to think about it like how is it being aired? So JoJo, because it's technically, at least this part of JoJo was a shonen, it's probably being aired at a time slot that's not like, it's, think of it like comparing a show like South Park to like Rugrats. Like a show like South Park aired, at least initially, really late at night on a channel that would show shit like that. Rugrats couldn't do like gore and violence because it's not that kind of show.
I'm wondering if the Adult Swim airing of like the JoJo parts are uncensored.
You know, I've never thought about looking into that, and I would like to know.
They would totally would, because the stuff they show on there.
I just never really cared about the JoJo dub at all. But I'm really interested. What do they do for the ED? Do they play the song? There's no way they could afford that.
I'm pretty sure. I watched a couple episodes of the dub, and I'm pretty sure they play "Walk Like an Egyptian."
That's crazy. I wonder how much money that costs. If that costs any money. I don't really know how syndicating like a foreign show works.
I think like when it's already airing in Japan, they all they do is dub it over. There, it's fine because it's a product from Japan.
Yeah, that's really.
And they paid, I guess.
But like, they also, it's the same thing where they can't have the names of the bands. Like, that's a legal issue.
Do they call them differently in America?
They have to. It's a legal issue. The reason why they do it is because they would be sued so quickly. Or
I haven't watched any of the part 4 yet, where they actually like.
At least.
I'm pretty sure he still called it Crazy Diamond. But I don't know. I have to rewatch from the part 4 dub, because I'm not entirely, because I watched a little bit of the part 3 one.
I've literally never watched any of the JoJo dub, and I have to say I don't really care too much. I'm just a little interested.
Matt Mercer is good Jotaro. I think he does a.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that he said the high noon thing. That's pretty fucking funny.
But in the guy who voiced Dio is really good as well.
It's weird though, because the first time I saw him was not in person, but I saw his actor doing the Dio voice, and he's like a chubby, balding guy, and I was like, I can't imagine he was Dio.
And
Sorry.
Also, the old Joseph voice actor is top notch. Like he is
good?
He is what I expected English sounding Joseph Joestar, like the same kind of the same voice you hear, and I hear the guy who played the old Joseph in the dub. I think he passed away, but like he sounds like him, like the Japanese guy, like 100%, but in English. But yeah,
cool beans. So yeah, back to the episode of the anime.
Yeah, our Italian adventure.
Okay, so we talked about his backstory, which I thought was really well. We mentioned it. I really liked how they went into it.
Well, yeah, we get like a little bit of his character, where like he did help like the tourists out, but still stole their money, but gave them back their wallet. Where like he still like like a thief, but like he's still like,
yeah. It's kind of like the delinquent heart of gold trait again, but I actually I love that scene where he steals a bit of the money because it's like to him he grew up in the mafia environment, so everything is like a transaction.
Yeah, I
like if you're protecting someone, like you're getting something, it's like expected.
I was looking up the differences where like it showed like a lot of the flashback Giorno stuff that was animated was like only like narrated of but they showed it inside the anime, which was pretty cool.
Which that's like, I mean, when you're adapting something, the idea is to not have tons of weird like narration. Like I was kind of,
but they didn't instead of narrating, they showed it more than
exactly. Like that's the point. I know this is like film as a visual media, so like it makes more sense to have things like being depicted rather than having the narrator. Which I know the JoJo narrator's kind of like a meme, and it's fucking funny and everything. But I kind of wish that he wasn't. Like, he did introduce that it's Naples, but you could have just had like a sign that said Naples.
I'm hoping they do the map more inside.
Yeah.
Part 5. I thought that was like the T, like, oh, okay, this is gonna be traveling.
Also, there's been a distinct lack of food. There needs to be more Italian food.
Yeah, we got that enough in part 4. Like, I need to calm down on my Italian food.
Well, because that is like a thing with Araki. Like,
I made a whole
loves Italian food.
I made a whole chapter about the Gangos eat Italian food. I had to like ease it up by actually in Italy this time.
Well, he does not. If you remember part 5, I don't know if you remember reading it, but pretty much any time the main characters sit down anywhere, they talk about what delicious food they're eating, and it makes me hungry.
In part 8, we got that too.
It's true.
We got a dessert recipe in part 8 that out of nowhere in like the most unlikely like location.
Yes.
So
it's very, very good.
But yeah, so I like that. So what do you think people think of the whole Gangstar thing?
What do you mean?
It's like the whole term of Gangstar.
I think it's wonderful. I that was the thing that I was really anticipating because I want to revisit it actually because I don't know what he says. Because when I remember reading one of the versions I read, he didn't say Gangstar. He said something similar.
One I read, I remember him saying Gangstar.
He said something it was like another pun on it, but Gangstar is like golden. Like it is such a great thing, and it just is. It is like the reason that I love Giorno because he wants to be like a mafioso, but he also wants like he's obsessed gangster. With this like he
wants to be a good mob.
The look, like he loves this like vanity, this whole vanity.
He wants to be a fabulous gangster that doesn't sell drugs to kids, but only to adults.
I really do love that he's like that whole scene at the end where he like lets Bruno go, and he's just like he's surveying his kingdom of Naples, and he's like, I'm gonna own this one day, and I'm gonna make sure that. I guess prostitution's okay, murder's okay, sex trade, yeah, fine.
Only
extortion's okay, no drugs.
No, only murder if they deserved it.
Yeah, only if they deserve it.
That's what we learned.
No drugs. No guys, get the drugs out of here.
Get them out.
No drugs in Naples. No drugs in Venice. Get them all out.
Didn't show any prostitution though in the whole walking down the thing. They showed maybe drugs.
Didn't, but I would be shocked if the Italian mafia.
Italians respect their women, Jim. They beat them or they respect them. You can't pick one or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know. I feel like the Gangstar thing, like he said it a lot in like, the early part, but I feel like it kind of got dropped. I feel like
it's fucking JoJo.
Yeah.
Everything gets dropped after it's said. You're just supposed to you're supposed to like put it in a file in your head and then close the file and lock it and never.
The
open
whole
again.
Reflection thing would be forgotten, and don't worry.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit sand stuff.
It's not a spoilers. They don't tell you they've forgotten it. They just will.
Yeah, there's just I don't know. Araki. I've heard of some people kind of like talking about this, and I kind of agree. He really just is about creating an emotion. So like when you
sound like David Cage.
So when you introduce a character like Bruno and you don't know what his stand is, and there's the mystery, the whole thing is like Araki wants you to be creeped out and have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
So that's why something weird like somehow Sticky Fingers got fingers into Giorno's mouth. Somehow he got an eyeball into Giorno's hand. Like these things don't make sense.
I felt like he did the hand slip thing because everyone's like a pickpocket in there that he was like he went to close to him. He put into his hand, but Giorno was so like into it that he didn't notice.
But like Giorno's whole point in that is like I need to like watch it again and like go thing. But his whole point is like I've had my fist clenched the entire time. Oh. So he would have noticed if like he's the pickpocket too. Like he would have noticed.
I always felt like he was too like. in like I don't know under stress or like not really paying attention more to Bruno than the stuff going on in his hand and like the mouth thing. He didn't really notice like something going zip in with the fingers.
Yeah, I'm sure you can make an argument for it, but it's to me it's just kind of like whatever. Like it's not about like the actual stand powers. It's not about the stand stats. It's about creating a weird, interesting experience that will get you to buy the next chapter of the manga, because that's literally what shonen manga is. Every chapter ends on a cliffhanger, so you buy the next one and keeps you going.
I don't know. I also what's the last thing? I was thinking of like what's it called? Man, I had it in my head and it just kind of went away. Thinking about during that fight was like on the train.
Basically, Giorno is naked under his clothing at all times. Giorno is just constantly naked.
No, it's not it. You're not helping me. But
I do like the scene where Bruno, okay, so Sticky Fingers is the coolest stand ever. When he moves, he switches his arm with the kid's arm. That is the coolest, most badass shit ever. Also, we get to see some of Bruno's sexy tattoo, which is something you rarely get to see more of his sexy tattoo.
I'm not sure if it's a tattoo or like an undershirt.
Oh, it's definitely a tattoo, dude.
I first he thinks it's like part of like, his fucking shirt.
It does kind of look like a lace, like a tank top. It's almost like a sexy lace tank top or a man bra.
But yeah, so I was thinking. So the first episode of JoJo, of like being part 3 and part 4 in this one, when they actually have like the first like stand versus stand encounters, they're never like really shown. They're always like translucent, like all the time. Like when Koichi brings out Act 3, we all know what Act 3 is, but they show it like invisible kind of, it's
like kind of like transparent.
But like but they always do that. Like it's always a weird. I guess like, at least for a stand, I was kind of weird they did it with Koichi instead of like before like showing it all the way like these new stands. Like kind of weird they did that with like his, but maybe it's the. And, like,
wait, what do you mean? Because
like
showing new stands.
I mean, they lead up to showing like gold experience and Sticky Fingers, but they have them like they're silhouetted a little bit, or you see the hand or anything.
It's like a reveal.
Or like because that's another thing they do with like other stand users, where like they hide it from them. They hide the actual like person stand.
Yeah.
Which I always thought you either show it fully or you don't. But
well, that's like the thing about stands. It's like I've been doing some thinking about this. Like, do you need to have your stand out when your stand power is going? Because like it would make a lot of sense to hide your stand. Hide the physical manifestation of your stand.
I remember Josuke did that with the turtle. When the turtle got thrown, he went over and touched it, and like he did it with his own hand. He didn't see anything, and then he fixed it. And then 3, remember he's in Jotaro's in the prison cell. He shoots off in the head, and you see the bullet. Just the hand grab the bullet next to him. That's all you saw. I feel like you can show pieces of them because like I remember. Because like, I remember they were just I don't know. I think they just do it whenever they need it to do.
It is, as I said before, JoJo doesn't need to make sense. It's just about like the feeling and the style. It's whatever Araki wants to make interesting looking.
I mean, I remember like looking binoculars just to Star Platinum's eyes would make it look farther.
Yeah, it makes sense. The dude that totally tracks.
But I don't know. They do whatever they want. Like
okay, so we are watching the scene right now. Bruno grabs Giorno's wrist. So he's grabbing his wrist in this scene. And I'm still waiting to see what happens. So we'll keep talking.
His clutched right now.
Okay, so I guess you can say, like, in this scene, maybe Giorno touched his palm.
He's so focused that he didn't notice what he did.
Yeah, whatever.
But you just always gotta remember, they just do this shit with, like, other stands that they never explain. Kakyoin's like miming like puppet thing, voodoo doll kind of thing, and like they always do that. And
so I have to say, like, I do want to pose a question. Do you think that is inherently good or bad?
What, just having stuff stands do different things?
Yes.
I think I'm just so used to it because of JoJo, but I think you shouldn't have stands do something that they'll never do again. I kind of think it's kind of like Starfinger, just one thing he did once and he doesn't really do later on.
I don't have a problem with Starfinger. If he did it one more time, it would have been okay. But the fact that he never does it again is a problem.
It's just a weird thing. Like his stand is just like we don't know his stand power. They're being really fast, and then Starfinger like that his stand ability, but then it's not by the end. But Cat Queen, it's just like he can go fit in those tight places and he shoots emeralds, but he also has that voodoo power, and then he has the possession power that he never uses again. We have Ponarf who had he could shoot the rapier from like a. It was a risky move, but he had opportunities to use it again, but never did. And he had the outside the armor removal thing on his stand as well.
Yeah, he uses that a few times, I think, though.
He uses it a few times, but it's just a thing.
It is. I think it is frustrating from like a reading point of view. Because especially as someone that's currently reading JoJo,
Part A especially is very bad with stuff. His potential is limited, but he doesn't like.
Well, yeah. Well, not to go into really spoilers, but like when I'm reading a stand battle in Part 5 and a stand shows up, I am immediately thinking like I'm looking at every detail, trying to figure out what the stand is, like what its powers are, what its limitations are, and to have something like Giorno. I'm just gonna be frank. Giorno's like reflecting power, where if you hit the thing and it reflects. I don't think it comes back.
Don't think so either.
I don't recall that ever being relevant. And when I see that, and like that is shown initially as Gold Experience's power, kind of like
other than
at least in the manga it is. It's shown at first in the manga. In this, we see him turning bills into butterflies.
It really changes, like the first couple chapters.
When that is the first thing you see, I think it is a bit of a problem. But the fact that like later on, as things go out and you start to see what. When it never happens again, you're just kind of like, okay, I guess that was like a one-off.
It was really similar to Josuke's, where he could repair stuff to its original state, but it wouldn't be 100%, and then it just went to 100%.
Yeah, that just stopped.
And
you could like hand wave these away by saying like, oh, my stand evolved, or like I got better power over it, but that's never like explicitly stated. So I have to say it's just like a fuck up.
Yeah, there's when we get to the one arc, especially the one that like really like I don't know made me like hate like the ass pulley of Giorno's stand. Like there's one arc in particular that really like actually made me say like, fucking really like. When we get there, I'll talk about that more. But yeah, he's one of those ass pulls that I kind of hate.
But okay, so based on that like premise, the argument premise, I wanted to say like. Do you think they should change these things? And
in the anime?
So keeping Giorno's bullshit power that doesn't ever come back, do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know.
Do you think being faithful is good to the manga, or should they just scrap these confusing things?
I feel like they've already done it this far into it that they may as well just keep going with it. Like, there's one thing when we get to part 6, especially that I'm seeing they're going to have it for the first thing, and then, you know what I'm exactly saying, one character's appearance changes drastically from one chapter to another, which could be the end of an episode, and the next episode it's just gonna be like how it was.
Because that would just be like that is a time where I would say they cannot do what the manga did. They absolutely cannot do what the manga did. They need to fix that.
See, I don't
one way or another.
I don't like it, but like a lot of people who know JoJo, like it's just JoJo. It's just stuff that's gonna happen.
That's kind of the argument I fall on. I think it's like. But my problem is I really love the original stuff they're adding and like the way they're kind of shifting things. I know the end of part 4 shifted things in a way to make the plot kind of expedite.
Because they had a lot of chapters of a bunch of stand fights and they kind of had to combine them all. But I like the way they did that one. But
I think that's like a clever idea. And like in part 5 we can already see they're creating new scenes. They're shifting things slightly.
The thing is they've been doing it in a way that please manga readers and newcomers together. Yeah. And if they change it drastically, like, they beat if he beats Leaky Eye Luca, and he which is a punch barrage or just like some kind
of a Muda
barrage or turning a shovel into like some kind of like rattlesnake and biting him or something like that, manga readers would be pissed off.
Yeah, I think it does kind of compromise Araki's vision if they were to do that. Whereas, like, the other changes that they're doing don't compromise the vision.
Which you guys have been doing a really good, like, I guess maybe they probably really love JoJo, and they want to keep the original vision going. So that's why I'm interested to see how, especially part 6, to see how far they really want to go.
I'm sure they won't change anything. I'm sure they won't change anything major.
Except for the one legal battle potential stand in part 6. I'm kind of curious to see whenever they animate
which one?
that.
Just say the name.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, okay, that's right.
I'll see you in court. The stand.
I'm sure they'll do something. That might be. They might have to kind of change details in that, but I'm sure that won't be an issue.
We'll see.
Whatever.
They only use characters that their own production studio has done or Rhapsody's work. We'll see. But yes, and then. Anything else you want to really talk about the episodes that you?
We kind of mentioned Luca. I really liked how much focus Luca got. I think he might have been in like 3 panels initially.
I completely forgot about him because it's been that long since I read it and I forgot he's a character.
I'm pretty sure literally like Giorno doesn't ever stop walking. Like Giorno's like walking somewhere and Luca confronts him and he just kills him. Like I'm pretty sure there's like, because they kind of like have this like lead up to the scene, and Giorno and Luca have like this really interesting like back and forth about like it kind of showing you like the shittier side of the mafia, like these like low ranking dudes who have all this pride and clout, and like they are just really aggressive, whereas Giorno is kind of like a shit, but he's wedged in the system enough where he's kind of a shit, but he's like not totally a dick. What is that one line from it's that one movie, I can't remember, it's like isn't it from Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like he's not an asshole, but he's an asshole, but he's not 100% a dick.
Yeah.
And then John C. Reilly's like, well, I don't believe anyone's 100% a dick. But I think that's really like a good summary. It's like he kind of operates in this gray area. Right, that's kind of a tangent, but
that's fine. No,
you were saying how you don't remember Luca.
I don't. It's been a while since I read part 5. Like, I should reread it now that's fully colored, but like I think the rough translation was last time I read it, and I forgot he was a character completely. I guess because he doesn't have a stand, and you kind of don't remember non-stand users.
Yeah.
Unless they were like in part 2.
That's why I really like he really stands out among the non-stand users.
I guess, but like he's kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
He's there to display a power that's never brought back.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That is almost entirely superfluous to the plot.
So it's like, and
he really is just a narrative device too, as to get Bruno to attack Giorno. Like, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, it's him crossing Passion, and then Passion coming to him to get justice. He just
he's I guess he starts the chain of events really, or starts them up faster. But
all right, I think. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
just about the OP and the
we didn't talk about that.
Because that's more of a spoiler thing. It is. Save that to the end.
Actually, yeah, I do. Okay.
Well, first the end credit song. I guess that's not really spoilers.
It's called "Freaking You"
by Jojo.
What?
By Jojo. The guy's name's like Jojo.
No, it's not.
I remember someone said something. The names of like the artists were like Jojo and like.
Oh, maybe else. I don't know. The band's name is like
the singer in the band. I think it's like Jojo and like something else.
I should have had the name up. It was funny because I actually was talking to my mom about it because I was explaining Jojo to her.
Oh, good luck with that.
As a young man do. Oh, it's Jodeci.
Yeah, so kind of so with Jojo.
Jodeci. And it's funny because I was explaining to her how they have the funny trend in the anime where they have a licensed song at the end that is tangentially related. Sometimes it's related, like "Walk Like an Egyptian" was super on the nose, but something like "Roundabout," I really can't connect "Roundabout" to like Victorian England or Mayan tombs or but
like a world tour kind of, like a cross country tour or across a continental tour.
I get I've listened to "Roundabout" 1,000 times because I loved Yes when I was much younger, but I can't tell you what that song's fucking about at all, actually. But okay, so I was telling her, like, and I was like, yeah, everyone, all the normies online, all the friggin' JoJo bronies were like, it'd be so fucking funny if Gangsta's Paradise was the end credits. And then I was like, I love that they picked this random song that no one was expecting. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she was saying, like, yeah, those guys were known as, like, the super, like, sensual and sexual R&B group. And I can't remember the name of the song, but she mentioned another song from a different band that she loved, and how it's about like there's a whole, it's a guy like seducing a woman, and there's a line where he's like, we got Jodeci playing in the background. So like even amongst like other musicians, they were known as like the sex music,
sexy R&B. But alright, yeah, I kind of like love this song. It kind of like comes out of nowhere, and it's kind of like ridiculous, but like it's so homoerotic just for JoJo, perfectly for part 5, probably the most homoerotic part in JoJo, and that says a lot.
Yes. Yeah, it's really, I don't know, part 2 has got a bit of homoeroticism.
Yeah, because more of like a one-on-one relationship. It's just like a massive big orgy of guys.
Even like I don't want to talk about too much in the future. I'm trying not to talk about like future parts, but it's hard because we're so used to it from our other podcasts. We just are always talking about like all of JoJo.
That's why I've been trying to use more part 3 and part 4 as like my references. Instead of using part 7 and part 6, we did like the shit on part 6. It's way too much.
Yeah, but basically it is just a song about having sex.
And while the characters just pose in their stands or next to them. But
I was trying to figure out if they were like trying to spell a word because Trish was just in a C. She was just like, her body was contorted to look like a C. And I was like, there's no way that's a word, right? So I guess I need to look into that.
It spells passione.
That'd be pretty fucking funny.
Best girl. But yeah. I guess let's talk about that. Should we just talk about the OP then? Because we're talking about trying to catch the little things in there.
Okay, so yeah, this section is going to we're going to probably talk about spoilers for all part 5.
So there are some hefty spoilers, if you probably could tell by some of the imagery in there, but you don't know what. But I guess look at the timestamp below or pause it, look at the timestamp.
I'm not going to put timestamps. We're going to end it after this, so...
Alright, well, good episodes then.
Goodbye.
Good episode. The good episode was good if you want that opinion.
Yeah. Alright, or maybe I will, whatever. Okay. Basically, I love the OP.
Yeah.
It was fucking cool.
It's probably it's in my top 5, but not my top 3.
It's so funny. I really did want to like temper my expectations because there was so much fucking hype for this thing. Talking about how the people that did the Evangelion OP did it. The people who did
Bloody Stream.
Coda, the artist that did the Bloody Stream song, which... If I had to rank them, I think Bloody Stream would still be higher, just because I think the song is so good and the visuals are so
I
nice.
think Great Days, Bloody Stream, Crazy Nomi Bizarre Town, I think Fighting Gold, then Sonochimi Sonome.
Fighting Gold wasn't one that I immediately loved. I was super... Because, okay, as I was going to say, like, but my hype levels were really high, and I tried to temper them. And I was watching it, and I was like, kind of just, like, letting it wash over me. I was like, oh... And then I watched it again because I was like, I need to see this twice. I can't just watch this once. And then I was like starting to catch all the little references, like the beginning shot where we see Giorno's hand dripping blood, and then you see the blood on the ground. I was like, oh, that's how they find out about King Crimson. And then you see the shit like Abaccio and the hourglass, and you're like, oh fuck, that's like a double meaning. Like
I see King Crimson's pattern.
Yeah, also like Abaccio, his whole stand is time based, and also his clock's running out.
And yeah, another thing with like the characters they show in order, the characters that live and the characters that die, or like are past the ones that live.
Ever since the 1 part 3 OP where it's the characters on the staircase and all the characters on the right are the ones that live and die. Every time I see a full character shot in a JoJo OP, I am fixated on it because I'm always like, all right, who's on what side? Blah, blah, blah. Like,
when you didn't notice that actually when they have all the stands animate, and the ones that animate are the ones that are living, the ones that have like a still frame are the ones that die or go away.
Yeah, which is really crazy. It's like, because I must have watched it like 10 times the first day, and I know I feel like I caught a majority of them, but then there's some things that like Medi, classic Medi, very, very good JoJo boy. He said the thing about the like Abaccio hourglass with the King Crimson. I was like, damn, I wasn't even thinking of, like, I'm always so focused on like the characters, I don't think about the background.
There's also the Trish falling with the double helix with DNA, like she's like blood related to the boss and everything.
Yeah,
but
there's some good shit in there.
But yeah, it's just really cool. Like I love all the images and everything. The one cover of like Giorno with just like the chains and like the scarf around him, that famous cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the skin in one of the fighting games for him. And really funny, but
yeah, I like all the chain imagery too. I think it looks really cool. It just looked really good, and there really was like, I do kind of miss the old CG openings.
Yeah,
but I really like this. Felt very anime to me.
I mean, Part 4 didn't do that, and and like the Part 4 OPs were really good too.
Yeah.
So maybe not so much Chase, but the other two are like great, really good.
I think as a visual OP, Chase is good.
Yeah, I think as visual Chase would be.
The song just feels just like it's not what I want from JoJo.
It's not a JoJo OP. Even all the rest of the part, not like anything. The Part 3 ones are like.
Yeah, a lot of what I've been seeing people talk about is like
Chase sounds like it should have been that live action Part 4 movie we watched.
It really does. It feels congruent to that. Something that people are commenting on is how like the tone of the OP is very dark already. Where
I feel like that kind of darkness should probably be in the third OP, I guess that would be, if it goes to the same amount as Part 4 had.
And I hate to just like parrot other people's speculation, but it's a thought that I had too, where I feel like they're going to be adding and subtracting a lot to this OP.
Oh yeah.
Like I have the idea that maybe if like they could, I don't think they've confirmed that there's going to be more than one OP yet, So say if they kept this one and started changing it drastically, that'd be pretty cool.
I think it's 39 episodes, like part 4 was. And the thing is, like, because they're going to cut, I think it's going to be 3, I think, because it's going to go up to the point they probably get Trish, that's going to be a new OP, and then I guess the third half when, like, I guess they're trying to run away from the boss, and that's going to, I read the order.
But, like, I mean, there is a kind of precedent for that, but, like, part 3 had 2 seasons, and there were only 2 OPs.
But, yeah, that's also, like, one of the longest parts, I think.
I don't know how many episodes there were.
But that's also, like, count as 2 seasons. Like, the whole, like, Road to Egypt was a season, and then the Egypt thing was a season, so, I don't know. But then, like, part 5, I'm not sure how they're going to split it up, or, like...
Because this feels like there are references pretty far into part 5 in this. Definitely not to the very end. Yeah, so there are 48 episodes of part 3. And they only had 2 OPs, so they could really do anything. Yeah,
but I guess they had their whole thing because it was like really 2 halves where, like, you know, the Road to Egypt, I said it before, the Road to Egypt and then Egypt, where part 4 was like lead up to find who's behind the arrows. The second one, find Kira. Third one, find where Kira is now. So it was like kind of 3 different arcs they had. And that's why they had 3 different OPs, where this one kind of has...
Like, but, like, part 4 is very loose arcs.
Yeah, but it's still, like, it still has them. Like, the first arc, Arrow, second arc, Kira, third arc, find Kira. Again, it's a new face. And this one's going to be, like, get the Trish, get to the King Crimson, and then Coliseum. That's going to be the 3 arcs. So, that's just my guess are going to have 3 things, but...
I think, I don't know, I could see maybe 2, but this one feels like, I feel like they could do the classic JoJo David production thing, where they heavily alter the OP. And I think this one is really right for it, because there's a lot that's, like, kind of, it's intentionally vague, or, like, the backgrounds are just all kind of, like, abstract-y.
Trish, like, they can easily add Spice Girl.
Yeah, very easily. They could also just do more bullshit with King Crimson.
Or, yeah, that King Crimson add, you know...
How cool would it be when a character dies, it just skips? Like, the whole thing just skips.
You're seeing the last episode's a part of it. Or, I'm going to guess the last episode, like, they did was the Bites to Dust and, like, the world...
Well, yeah, the Bites to Dust thing was, like...
Well, they're definitely going to do something with King Crimson, because they've done that with, like, the last 2 parts, so they're going to have to.
I think that would just be so awesome for them to just be, like, when, like, Narancia's whole thing is, like, chains and then he dies, spoilers, it just skips that, and, like, the whole, like, the music and the visuals all just skip to the next bit. Like, I'm really excited to see what they do with his power.
I'm thinking they're just going to cut Fugu out and kind of replace him with Trish doing stuff with her stand.
Yeah.
Because, like, Fugu just kind of just disappears unless they, as like an OVA, do Purple Haze feedback.
So yeah, people have been. I've been seeing people want that, and I saw that. Okay, I don't know how much validity there is for it, but people have been like saying that based on the visuals of the OP that it's possible. I don't know where the fucking logic in that is.
Because Purple Haze feedback is where Fugo gets his character, and from what I didn't read it completely. I read a little bit about it, but like it just seemed like OP stands fighting OP stands.
Yeah, which I think they totally could do that. Like Medi, I was listening to a podcast with Medi and X-Forts, and he was saying how he thinks they could fit it in. Of course, like this is all just fucking JoJo brony speculation.
It would probably be after Part 5 airs, because they needed 2 Rohan parts. They can do like 2 halves of like Purple Haze feedback, because it does take place after Part 5.
Going back to what we were saying, how like changing shit to be different from the manga and anime. Wouldn't it be cool if they brought Fugo back?
He'd not, because Araki didn't write him back in because he didn't want them fighting a friend or having to kill a friend or something like that.
But what if he's not a bad guy? What if he becomes a good friend?
He was really meant to be the spy for the boss, and he didn't do that.
Damn, that feels like such a wasted opportunity. That's one of the... I wish that I could retitle JoJo to just wasted opportunities, the manga. Because I feel like that's the general impression.
He was too powerful to keep with the group and too much of a good friend to make him an antagonist of the group, I guess. But instead he made someone made like a light novel off of it, and Araki liked it, and I guess they made a canon. I think that's how it went, or like it's canon.
I know that it's considered.
The fighting
canon.
game uses Purple Haze feedback as
that's cool.
His like fighting moves that aren't in the Part 5 anime or manga.
I will never read a light novel. There's no light novel good enough to tempt me to ever fucking read a light novel. Just make a manga, you cowards. Light novels are garbage.
Sure, Jim. You want to write anything else about light novels?
Listen here, I fucking hate.
No, you're gonna ear rape people. You gotta cut that out.
No, it's gonna be fucking funny, dude.
I'm sure you're gonna edit it and you're gonna be really annoyed by it.
Probably.
But
let me just move this closer to me.
But all right. Anything else you want to say about the OP then?
I really loved it, and I've been listening to the song a lot, and I like it a lot.
You like it?
It's pretty good. It's pretty fucking good, dude.
I'm glad you like it.
I have to say, it definitely did not disappoint because I had like the day before. Yesterday was it when it aired?
It was on Friday. So yeah.
So on Thursday, I was thinking like, what if I don't like the OP? And then my heart like sank, and I was like,
the only thing of that scene in Fanboy where like they're finally gonna see episode 1. Like, but guys, what if it sucks? Those are my favorite like scene from
it. Honestly, it was like
a just look at each other.
It was like a moment like that where I was just kind of like, oh no.
But guys, what if Chase sucks?
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah.
Alright, this went on way longer than I thought. It was way less focused than I thought. Next time, I'm going to come in with like a series of events right now.
Yeah, maybe you should write down notes before I come over. You had time. You had prep time.
I did have prep time.
You had Batman,
just like
Kevin McAllister, Home Alone prep time.
I'm not gonna say I don't like our discussions. I really did enjoy.
I mean, it's the first episode format where it's gonna be a little chaotic, like always. Like we're not professionals.
Yeah, until I get my first AdSense paycheck, then I'll officially call myself a professional YouTuber.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think that's it. I guess please like, subscribe, all that crap.
So yeah, if you somehow made it through this entire video, and you don't know that we do another JoJo podcast, and you currently are reading JoJo and you're up to date, check out the dang podcast, dude.
Or if you're on your way, listen to spoiler casts for those parts that you finished.
We have several.
We've done part. We did 5, 6, 7, and 8 for at least half of 8, and then we did episode by chapter. We didn't do part 4, did we?
No, we haven't done part 1, 2, or 3. Even though I reread part 1 and most of 2.
Yeah, because I'm waiting on that last hardcover to go on sale. Blame Amazon.
You could just go on.
I like to have the hardcovers, and they have like really cool it has like the Scott Pilgrim colored ones I got. They have like extra stuff on the back of it, or like adds little wacky notes, which I love because they're silly.
Yeah,
but we'll get there.
So that brings up a whole different conversation about like the ethics of coloring manga, which I am very like of two minds on, because I feel like Brian Lee O'Malley did not make Scott Pilgrim to be red colored, but I'm sure that it is a good experience to read it colored.
It's beautiful color.
Same with JoJo. I honestly feel like reading JoJo in color makes it easier to understand the action.
The thing about JoJo is that like there's not really canon colors.
Yeah.
There's like
which I love.
There's like semi-official colors, which is like the posable figures. Like that Trish figure that I have, and like in the anime, the OP, like that one is like basically her always color scheme. Where Giorno has the pink one or that purple one I mentioned, or Bruno has the white one.
Yeah, I've seen that Bruno has two figures.
Like basically the Mista one, it's just the blue and orange. That's basically the canon one, but I've seen green and orange, which does not look nearly as good.
No, the blue, is it orange or red?
It's like orange.
The blue and orange Mista, well, fans of the podcast would know that blue and orange.
It's a red-orange.
Very good complementary colors. I use them for the banner. Or well, I always have a little outline for every JoKAKAKA we do, and I use the blue and orange.
Like, Durancy stays the same, Apache stays the same. I think Fugo's the only one that really changed it. I don't really know Fugo's color scheme, like, officially, because...
Yeah.
I've seen pink, I've seen orange, like,
I feel like green. I've seen green, I've seen red, and his hair generally is silver, I think.
Like, silverish, but it's also, like orangey blonde.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it orange before,
He's one of those... There's characters that flip around like crazy, and there's characters that, like, stay the same basically the entire time, or have one or two that are...
I know we said we're ending it, but I did want to say I was a little disappointed that the color scheme of the world went back to being realistic instead of, like, abstract like it was in part 4. Like, I loved how... Like, there's some... I heard this one time. I could never find the original source, but the world of The Simpsons is really strangely colored. Mm-hmm. Like... The Simpsons they're all like yellow, and the blues and the colors they use are weird, and like their house is really weird colors inside.
Homer's car is like pink.
Yeah, but like because everything else is complementary to those colors, the world all works together, and that's how part 4 is. Like the colors all blend really well, even though they're non-typical colors. Like the sky is like weirdly orange all the time, and and the streets are like blue. But it works.
I'm associated.
And I love that.
When Part 5 anime gets to like because there's a lot of nighttime stuff. I want to see if they do anything coloring with that, because there's a lot of nighttime stand battles, and I can see them doing something with like the sky.
That'd be really cool.
So with that, but that's just a guess. So. But
all right, let's actually end it for real this time.
You sure? Everyone's at 60 minutes.
Jeez, I'm so sorry, everyone. I did not mean to make this last so long.
We like to shoot.
But then again, X-Forts is doing an hour-long podcast for every JoJo episode.
See, the difference between us and him, that we don't have people that listen to us, like 100 million people that listen to us.
That's very true.
We get like a good 10 to 15 to listen to us 100 times.
Good. Much love though to X-Forts, I have to say. Yeah. I appreciate the hustle, even though I don't know how you could possibly squeeze out an hour of content every episode of JoJo. I guess we kind of did half of it.
Yeah, and we're trying to be good boys and not talking too much about like the other part. I did talk, but like
I'm really okay. This is something. Oh my god!
You're the one
if you made it,
like we can't believe we haven't ended. And you're like, okay, actually, if you're a current manga reader, we should have a Part 8 chapter up in a week or so, depending on how quick it gets. Got the volume cover, so we should get the chapter soon. So keep an eye on for that if you're a Part 8 fan. And yeah, that's it.
That is it, really. Please leave your comments. Give us likes. Give us subscribes. They really help. Seriously, every little bit of interaction helps, guys. I don't care if you hate us. Give us downvotes. Yeah, every interaction helps.
Help this tiny little channel.
Yes.
Help this tiny little channel become a gang star of YouTube, please.
That's our goal.
Become a star. A tuber.
A tuber.
A tube star.
A cobbler's tuber.
A cobbler tube star.
All right.
No one's gonna get that joke unless they watch the Restaurant in Another World episode. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. This has been Jim.
Bye.
Bye.
Fighting God!